two brothers who worked together to heal the sick. They were persecuted by the emperor for refusing to renounce their Christian faith and were martyred together. Today's curiosities are about Saints Cosmas and Damian. Here are 8 curiosities about them. 8. Historical origins. The origins of Saints Cosmas and Damian are shrouded in mystery, with various historical traditions offering different versions of their backgrounds. These two saints are venerated in multiple religious traditions, and each presents a unique narrative regarding their roots and identity. One of the most common versions suggests that Cosmas and Damian were of Arab origin. According to this tradition, the brothers were born in the city of Igi in Arabia around the 3rd century. They belonged to a noble family and received a solid Christian education. In their youth, Cosmas and Damian excelled in medicine, dedicating themselves to treating the sick for free, refusing any form of payment. This earned them great respect and admiration among Christians of that time. The connection with Arabia is often associated with the influence of Eastern cultures on the development of Christian tradition and the integration of medical practices of that era. On the other hand, another tradition claims that the saints had Asian origins. According to this version, Cosmas and Damian came from a region in Asia Minor, an area that includes parts of modern-day Turkey. In this narrative, the brothers are described as practitioners of medicine and defenders of the Christian faith, who faced persecution and death for their refusal to worship pagan gods. This view is supported by historical accounts mentioning the presence of a strong Christian tradition in Asia Minor during the period in which they are believed to have lived. The divergence in the stories of their origins reflects the complexity of the saints' history and how their stories have been shaped and reinterpreted over the centuries. These different narratives about the origins of Cosmas and Damian not only illustrate the diversity of the religious traditions that venerate them but also highlight the importance of these saints in various cultures and historical contexts. Regardless of their exact origins, the legacy of Saints Cosmas and Damian transcended geographical and cultural boundaries, establishing them as universal figures of devotion and inspiration. Their stories and the practice of their veneration have been passed down through generations, reflecting a lasting impact on the spirituality and traditions of various communities around the world. If you're not yet subscribed to the channel, subscribe so you don't miss any curiosity about the saints. 7. Martyrdom and Miracles. Saints Cosmas and Damian are known not only for their dedication to medicine and the Christian faith but also for their remarkable martyrdom and the miracles that accompanied their suffering. The brothers' story is marked by a series of cruel tortures and miraculous events that demonstrate the strength of their faith and divine intervention in their lives. Historical and traditional accounts of the martyrdom of Cosmas and Damian describe a series of brutal tortures to which they were subjected for refusing to renounce Christianity and worship pagan gods. During the persecution under the Roman Emperor Diocletian, the brothers endured various forms of torture. First, they were thrown into a ravine in an attempt to kill them by the fall, but they survived unscathed. In another execution attempt, they were drowned, but again, they were miraculously saved. They were then condemned to be burned at the stake, but the fire failed to harm them. These torture attempts are described as failures due to the divine protection surrounding the saints. The miracles did not end there. After the attempt to burn them, they were sentenced to stoning, but the stones thrown at them rebounded onto the attackers themselves, and arrows shot by archers wounded the shooters. These events were seen as miraculous, confirming divine intervention and the special protection over the brothers. Finally, the saints were executed by beheading, a form of martyrdom that completed their suffering. Even in this final moment, the unwavering faith of Cosmas and Damian and the belief in divine intervention were evident to those who witnessed their martyrdom. The suffering and numerous execution attempts faced by the brothers testify to their steadfastness in faith and the ongoing presence of miracles associated with them. After their death, the bodies of Cosmas and Damian were considered sacred and continued to be venerated by their followers, who believed in the realization of miracles through the saints' intercession. 6. Patrons of Physicians. Saints Cosmas and Damian are widely venerated as the patrons of physicians and pharmacists, a title that reflects their lives dedicated to the practice of medicine and altruistic service. Their recognition as patrons of the medical profession is deeply rooted in their history and their actions during their lives. Cosmas and Damian, twin brothers born in the early 3rd century, were known for their competence and dedication in the field of medicine. They stood out for offering high-quality medical care without accepting any form of payment. This practice of treating the sick for free not only demonstrated their compassion but also reflected a strong conviction in their Christian beliefs, where charity and helping others were fundamental. During their lives, Cosmas and Damian were admired for their medical skills and the positive impact they had on the lives of those they helped. Their decision to treat the sick without charging for services made them exemplary figures of altruism and integrity in medical practice. This commitment to patient well-being, along with their desire to heal without expecting material reward, solidified their reputation as the Patron Saints of Physicians. Their title as patrons of physicians and pharmacists was formally recognized due to their significant contributions to medicine and the way they exemplified professional practice. They became symbols of dedication and ethics in medicine, and many health professionals see them as a source of inspiration and a model to follow. Leave your prayer request in the comments so that Saints Cosmas and Damian can intercede for it before God. 5. Name and meaning. Saints Cosmas and Damian are often called anargyros, a Greek term meaning without silver or without money. This nickname is deeply significant and reflects a fundamental aspect of their lives and medical practice. The name anargyros comes from the combination of the Greek words without and argyros, silver or money, and it was attributed to the saints as a recognition of their altruistic and selfless medical practice. During their lives, Cosmas and Damian stood out by treating the sick and infirm without accepting any form of payment. This commitment to free healing was a reflection of their Christian faith and their desire to serve others without seeking material rewards. The title anargyros also highlights the purity of the saints' intentions. By emphasizing that they did not accept silver, the nickname underscores the idea that their motivation for treating the sick came from a genuine desire to help and heal, without the influence of financial interests. This attribute greatly contributed to their reputation as saints and patrons of physicians and pharmacists. 4. Relocation of their remains. After the martyrdom and death of Saints Cosmas and Damian, their bodies were treated with great reverence and respect, reflecting the lasting importance these saints had for Christians. The transfer of their remains to Rome is a remarkable episode in the history of their veneration. After the brothers' death, their bodies were initially buried in Syria, where they were martyred. Over time, devotion to Cosmas and Damian grew significantly, and their followers sought to ensure that their relics were properly preserved and honored. To this end, the saints' bodies were transported to Rome, which at the time was the spiritual and political center of the Christian world. The translation of the saints' remains to Rome occurred around the 5th century. Pope Felix IV, who reigned between 526 and 530, was responsible for building a basilica dedicated to Saints Cosmas and Damian in the city. This basilica was erected in the Roman Forum, a place of great historical and religious significance. The Basilica of Saints Cosmas and Damian in Rome became an important place of worship, where Christians could venerate the saints' relics and seek their intercession. The construction of the basilica and the burial of the saints' bodies in Rome helped consolidate the veneration of Cosmas and Damian throughout the Christian world, ensuring that their memory and legacy were preserved and widely recognized. 3. Miracles and worship. During the 5th century, Saints Cosmas and Damian gained prominence in Christian worship, largely due to the miracles attributed to them and their reputation for healing diseases and ailments. These miracles were fundamental in solidifying the veneration of the saints and establishing their status as patron saints of doctors. After the brothers' martyrdom, belief in their holiness and intercessory power spread quickly. Reports of miracles associated with Cosmas and Damian became common, especially among those seeking help for illnesses and health issues. The fame of the healings performed through the saints' intercession contributed significantly to the growth of their cult. The miracles attributed to Saints Cosmas and Damian included the healing of various ailments, ranging from common illnesses to severe and incurable conditions. The saints' ability to perform these cures was seen as clear evidence of their holiness and the divine presence in their lives. These accounts of miracles helped increase the saints' popularity among the faithful and established a fervent cult around them. In the 5th century, devotion to Cosmas and Damian was formally recognized and institutionalized by the Church. The construction of the basilica in Rome by Pope Felix IV, where the saints' bodies were buried, was a crucial step in promoting the cult. The basilica not only served as a place of veneration but also as a pilgrimage center for those seeking the blessings and cures attributed to the saints. The association of Cosmas and Damian with medicine and healing led to their adoption as patron saints of doctors and pharmacists. This designation was reinforced by the miracles performed in the saints' name and the reputation that their intercessions could bring relief and healing to the sick. Doctors and healthcare professionals began to see Cosmas and Damian as models of service and dedication, and their stories came to inspire and guide medical practice. 2. Conversion and evangelization. Saints Cosmas and Damian not only stood out as competent and charitable doctors but also used their skills and knowledge to promote conversion to Christianity, a significant aspect of their ministry that eventually led to their persecution and martyrdom. The twin brothers, known for treating the sick for free and for their miraculous medical practices, were not content with just healing bodies, they also dedicated themselves to healing souls and evangelizing. While practicing their profession in Syria, they saw medicine as a tool to introduce pagans to the Christian faith. Their work as doctors was an opportunity to connect with people from different backgrounds while simultaneously conveying the message of Christianity. Cosmas and Damian's approach to converting pagans involved a combination of physical healing and spiritual instruction. By treating the sick and performing miraculous cures, the brothers not only demonstrated divine power but also used these events as a platform to evangelize. They spoke about Jesus Christ and Christian teachings, showing how faith in Christ could bring both spiritual and physical healing. This practice of evangelization and conversion, coupled with their growing success and influence, eventually attracted negative attention from Roman authorities, especially Governor Diocletian. Known for his intense persecution of Christians, Diocletian viewed Cosmas and Damian's missionary activities as a threat to Roman order and traditional religion. The growing popularity of the saints and the impact of their evangelization provoked the governor's wrath, who was determined to eradicate Christianity and maintain the worship of pagan gods. As a result, Cosmas and Damian were denounced and arrested, accused of sorcery and undermining the authority of Roman gods with their Christian practices. The rejection of their faith and pressure to renounce Christ and worship pagan gods were followed by severe tortures and eventually their martyrdom. Diocletian saw the brothers as enemies of the state and traditional religion, and their execution was an attempt to eliminate this threat to his regime. 1. Religious and popular festival. The Feast of Saints Cosmas and Damian is a religious celebration of great importance, commemorated on September 26 by the Catholic Church and on September 27 by various Afro-Brazilian religions. This event is particularly notable in northeastern Brazil, where the festival has its roots and is celebrated with great enthusiasm. In the Catholic Church, the feast is an occasion to honor the twin brothers Cosmas and Damian, known for their contributions to medicine and for their exemplary Christian lives. The symbolism of the sweets and treats distributed during the feast is linked to this connection with the Ibges. In Afro-Brazilian traditions, it is believed that the Ibges, who are twins and friends of children, have the power to grant wishes in exchange for sweets. Thus, the practice of distributing treats is a way to keep this tradition alive and celebrate the generosity and kindness attributed to Cosmas and Damian. The Feast of Saints Cosmas and Damian in northeastern Brazil is marked by a vibrant combination of religious and cultural celebrations, reflecting the rich tapestry of influences that shape the regional identity. The festivities include processions, masses, community events, and, of course, the distribution of sweets, which bring joy and enchantment to the children and families involved. We've reached the end of another story full of curiosities. Don't forget to leave a comment about which saint you'd like to see next on the channel. See you in the next video?